Hello and welcome back, guys, to the second episode of the Philadelphia. And haven't really thought through, but I guess we'll just get into it. This is the list that I will be rocking the second week here. Uh, Going to Philadelphia, and on the right you can see the matchups and how we placed in last week's tournament. And how I'm going to talk about how that led into the changes we have here now. So just to go over a little bit of a legend. The checks and X's are whether or not we won or lost the die roll, not whether or not we won or lost the match. That is signified by the 2-1 or 1-2, etc. records on the right. And so, uh, we'll just go in order. The Monday locals confirmed to me that the brand matchup was not that bad. At that point, we were running a few more hand traps. We weren't running the goes in, running less Daruma cannons. These actually helped the matchup a lot because Yup goes in. This allows them from playing Cartesia and Quem. Those are the easiest ways for them to play on your turn. That is more of a mid-rangey type matchup, and they will out-resource you quickly if they confuse on both turns. So typically you can turn skip their turn 1, D barrier that we now have in the main, and then the goes in will just allow them from keeping lights on board because they'll get locked into darks really quickly. Uh, Also, notable change to the trap lineup. We are no longer on 2 punishment, and we're not on any viruses in the main. Through testing, we've just found that none of the viruses are good enough to be in the main, and by the nature of Labyrinth cards, Daruma Cannon is the best thing into Kashtira, which is projected to be the most popular deck, as you can see from like the nationals in the last few weekends, as well as the one that just makes sure you live to the next turn, or you can trigger all your Labyrinth effects again and just start snowballing and start making Chaos Angels and stuff like that. So from there, like the band matchup is solid. That's also we're not dedicating any space to it with Reaper. There's nothing really good to hit. Like you could hit Lubellion, but like if you hit anything else, they just put it back with Lubellion, and hitting Lubellion feels bad because half the time they don't even go into it. So the Tuesday locals, notably the only locals that we did not place in. This was a bit of a variance locals. I'm not gonna lie to you, or it did also help to put. It did give me the notion to put in the Daruma cannons, as this is also uh, one of the only out for, well, second out for Noir in the main deck. So we got Ashed 11 times in 4 rounds. That'll do it to you. Besides that, having hard drawn Daruma Cannon is very good into that matchup, as they typically sit on the Noir for a couple turns. So on their end phase, you can flip up the Daruma Cannon. They have to start shotgunning things, and you can play freely on your next turn. That's also why I started playing the Lava Golems. Lava Golems synergizes really well with the Gozen match, especially into like cash or what, and it just gives you another out for purely Nor, because they rarely don't have another thing next to it, and even then, that purely doesn't kill you a ton, doesn't kill you very quickly if you don't commit monsters to the board. If we know we can't kill them, we just don't put anything, and we don't get happy OTK'd. And once they do start committing to the board, we can Lava Golem them and or do Rune Cannon them. And then round 5 week local 3. Everything felt really good. The Runic matchup is incredibly swingy. I got 2-0'd in like 7 minutes, I think. I then sat down and spoke with the guy a bit more. We played through some more games. It's very die roll dependent. It is very hand trap dependent. I'm a little bit scared about Runic more than I was previously. Kashtira for the most part, it's whether it comes down to like ability cards for that matchup rather more than the die roll. But like the Runic matchup felt so die roll dependent. I'm a little bit scared about that. Thankfully, Runic isn't in like a good position with Cash being the best deck and then having 2 other bad matchups in like super heavy and purely. So I like to just not to worry about it moving forward. And then just the last few like deck changes that we're gonna talk about here. Nib is now in the side deck because I felt that I needed more cards to go into cash. I know I just said that it isn't that hard of a matchup, but it is very side deck dependent. And now that we have different decks that we can side more things into. So typically, uh, last week we would have been signing Reaper into them. It felt really bad, but I still wanted to keep Encore because this card's crazy into that and purely. So we swapped out the Bistrels and the, I don't remember what else is in here, but Bistrels and something else for Imperm Nib. This feels a lot better. So now into cash we can go Encore, Imperm, and Nib into side, and just fixed up a lot of our siding patterns. Because into them you can take out, let's see, it was the Extravs, the goes ins, one welcome, the pink normal summon, and an ash, or like a punishment. like a couple one-ofs, like just slim down, and then that gives you like 9 good sideboard slots. Because if they're ending on a Rise Heart pass, you can outgrind them, especially if you have like the floodgates. Otherwise, Imperm and Encore both out the Rise Heart. If they commit further, you have Lava Golem in the main as well. So that's really nice. And yeah, so the only thing that I was having issues with that the Bistros really took care of that we took out was Mathmech. But I feel like Mathmech just the more I play like this format, the less I end up seeing it. So I'm not too worried about playing into it. And then the viruses and the field spell have just moved into the sideboard as we made more room for more non-engine in the main deck. So now we have 15 slots. It's the two sets of hand traps, lava golem, the two floodgates are the flex spots. Notably, we cut down on a lady. I haven't missed it yet. I've been testing a bit with this list. It's especially in this type of list where it's more furniture heavy. The AD is more of an extender than a starter. As in, like, it doesn't do anything with your hand traps, doesn't do anything with your floodgates. It's something you want to get off big welcome eventually. As opposed to like the other like 30 trap card Lord of the Heavenly Prison type decks. That one is like the centerpiece, like keeping this on board. I feel like that version is also much more reliant on this and loses harder to kaijus. As you know, if they kaiju, you have no follow up until you get into another starter. So, and yeah, so just these three on the side. Viruses for going first, and the field spell. If you draw too much engine, you can start setting this off your furniture. Just side out the lava golems going first typically. And then I want to talk about a little bit more about these traps. D-Barrier you can flip up against anything, but now having D-Barrier Dorama Cannon is a lot better than having Punishment as the main hard draw when they want hard draw and Eradicator as Eradicator doesn't hit everything. D-Barrier you can flip up against every single deck and either completely stop the turn or make it so their turn loses to like a big welcome. So this has just felt like a much better main deck slot. You rarely take them out for anything. Then Daruma Cannon is just the best trap card. This might honestly get bumped up to 3 before I go to Philadelphia. Because into cash, it makes their starting their plays like they have to hard draw Birth. And into every other deck, it says you don't lose because they have no outs for any of your like just set cards. And again, as I mentioned in the previous video, people aren't playing a ton of back row hate for this deck. A lot of people have started to see them on Cosmic. Like Cosmic will typically have to deal with one of these two cards. And you can always just coup clock furniture your way into whatever you want. So yeah, I'm feeling much more confident. And then the extra that got reworked a little bit, we did add a Bucephalus package. It did come up a couple times over the week. We added the third Chaos Angel as we played the past tier matchup where it was round 5 in the third locals. They did Unicorn Rip both of them, and I could have made the Chaos Angel. It came up. But I will be buying the third one for that. And then, yeah, I'm very, very excited for this event. Very happy with my list. I think it's going to do very well, bar some variants or me just not playing very well. Then I guess the last thing to talk about is the last furniture cut. We cut Shandrag Leader or Stovey because Stovey is better. It summons itself and likes to make Chaos Angel. These both do the same thing, but I ended up drawing too much furniture sometimes, so I think we cut one Kuklok, one Shandrag Leader, and the Lady was the third card for the last non-engine slot. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. More than likely, if there are any changes before Philadelphia, I'll make like a really short video Thursday night to be able to keep you guys in the loop. But this is almost definitely what we'll be taking to Philadelphia. And then I'll see you guys after the event.